Anticipating Needs. Written by Short Storytelling. Read by Short Storytelling. Trying to change things up again. This time I'm going to write in a different style, more as a journal than an essay or story. Let's see how this goes. First, there's likely some background that's needed. I had a rough time as a teenager, as many do, and I took some extreme actions to cope with things at the time. I'll spare the details of my life, but just say that I disabled my emotions. I know this is a bit dramatic to say, but it was my true goal. I studied meditation and focus, then turned my mind in on itself to cancel out emotional thoughts. Part of this was also to use visualization to my advantage. I kept all my emotions locked in literal cages in my mind and would visit them like a zoo. The only emotions that proved too difficult to completely negate were the instinctual ones like fear and anger. The result of all this was substantially stunting my emotional growth and health at a time when my brain was not even done fully developing. My life changed, became a normal life like any other with ups and downs, but I never really did the work to bring back my emotions. And that all changed in my mid-30s. The decision was made that I needed to change and try to tap back into my emotions. How this all happened is not as significant as that it did happen. I began to navigate the world in a new way and discovered a lot of things I never knew about myself as a result. One of the biggest things I learned was that I am an empathetic person. I do relate to people on a deep emotional level, assuming they let me in. What I discovered took some years for me to realize, but comes down to feeling I'm at my best when I'm helping others. For an introvert, this is a startling revelation. This doesn't mean volunteering in an organization or spending time visiting the elderly. For me, it means helping others with their problems, generally through discussions. What I found is that when I'm struggling and having a difficult time, talking with others about their problems and either listening or offering solutions helps me to be and feel better. This doesn't mean that I revel in the misery of others, and I certainly don't hope for them to suffer, but it does mean that I have a unique set of skills to be able to help others in their struggles. I'm not sure of the exact mechanics of the process, but essentially, listening to someone helps me to either forget about my own struggles or to figure out new ways to cope. I think maybe it's that it gives me confidence in myself. I'm doing something and actively moving forward in a situation by helping them. Maybe that's enough to guide me through my own troubles. In a relationship, I learned how to figure out to turn this into a superpower. It isn't just about being a good listener, that has its own time and place, but being able to anticipate someone's needs, that is a superpower. I feel like this is almost its own sort of love language in a relationship. It doesn't fall under the usual categories, but sort of falls into acts of service, I guess. This isn't about grandiose gestures or gift-giving. It's about simple consideration of another person and figuring out what they need before they do. I have a relationship with someone that has ADHD. Myself, as a methodical thinker, this makes me crazy good at anticipating their needs. It doesn't even require any heavy lifting on my part. Let me see if I can illustrate an example. Sitting together and watching something for the evening, my partner is with me, and we're settling back down into our respective seats. I simply go through my own mental process of getting comfortable out loud. Do you need a drink? Do you have enough blanket? Are you comfortable or need a different pillow? Do you mind if I have the buttons? Let me know if it's too loud for you. If you're not up for a show, I'd like to listen to some music with you. Do you mind if I snuggle up next to you? If you're up to listening to music, would you like to tell me how your day was? I will say that there's a fine line between anticipating needs and hovering. I still need to be a good listener through all of this, and if at any point they sound irritable, I need to pick up on that and change my line of questions or redirect to myself. Notice how in the last half of the example I start asking questions for me, like can I have the buttons or can I snuggle up with you? I can ask questions for me for them if it's something that impacts us both. This is a good way to avoid asking hovering questions. The real goal is for them to be cared for, not controlled. I ask about the pillow because I know they may have some back trouble. That's empowering them to consider their physical situation and evaluate their need. I ask about a drink because I know they've been wanting to hydrate more, and this reminds them without nagging at them. I ask if I can have the buttons so they can decide if I'm crossing a line into controlling them in a non-confrontational way. The key is engagement with them, showing concern and legitimate care while empowering them to make decisions if they want to. All of this may be something that comes naturally to you, or it may be very foreign. When I learned the meat of this, I was in a situation where I was a caretaker for someone. First, I learned out of a sense of self-preservation. I wanted to be able to care for their needs and then do my own thing uninterrupted. As a defense mechanism, I tried to figure out what they would need before I got settled. As I grew more confident, I learned to read the person and know when they were in need. I could get things ready in advance to take less time. I also learned how to be more respectful and empathetic. I learned to take their feelings into account, being patient and learning how to speak and ask questions without minimizing them or making them feel like a burden. Quality caregiving means caring for their emotions just as much as their physical needs. Discovering these superpowers isn't about self-aggrandizing, it's about empowering myself. It's about realizing I'm a good person, I know how to love and care for someone, and I am worthy of love myself. I call it a superpower because it makes me feel like a hero, and I can keep it secret. I don't need to worry about the world finding out who I am. I can share it with the people I care for, let them see my secret self, and I can show them that they're worthy too. My secret identity isn't for the world to see, and it's not for me to save the world. It's for me to see, and appreciate in myself, and to save my world, my people. Helping them, it helps me. By caring for them, I become a better person. In this way, loving others, it allows me to love myself.